I want to come back to a comment I got under a short where I said that LLMs learn by copying patterns and humans also learn by copying people. But it's not really the same. And the comment was basically, how is it not the same? That's a fair question. Because if you say it without much more detail, as I did, which isn't really ideal, it does sound like LLMs and humans do the same thing. Humans imitate, models imitate, that's it. But the reason this comparison keeps causing confusion is that it mixes two very different levels of description. From far away, we know that both humans and LLMs are pattern learners. But when you go closer, the learning process, the signals, the constraints, and the connection to the world are completely different. And we can only then understand why it's so far from consciousness, or what we call AGI. If you don't separate those layers, you end up with a statement that feels right, but don't actually explain what's going on. And you may think that AGI is coming for your job within just a few months. Spoiler alert, for the vast majority of us, it isn't. You're safe, at least for 2026. So I want to walk through this carefully, end-to-end, with one single example the whole time. But I have to split this explanation into three parts. First, how LLMs actually learn during what we call pre-training. Second, what fine-tuning and reinforcement learning change and what they don't. And third, how humans learn language and stories and where the resemblance really stops. Let's start with pre-training, because this is where most of the confusion comes from. And it's the most important part of training a powerful language model. During pre-training, a large language model is trained with one core objective. Given a sequence of tokens, predict the next token. That's it. You hide a token, the model guesses it, you adjust the parameters, and you repeat this over enormous amounts of text. There's no notion of meaning, intention, or communication in the objective itself. The model is not trying to tell a story, it's not trying to be helpful, it's not even trying to understand anything. It's minimizing prediction error. And I want to emphasize that I'm really talking about tokens here, not words. Models don't even know words, they only know numbers. We represent every word of the language in their respective index, which we call a token. It's obviously a simplified way to see this. In reality, we learn to optimize these tokens based on how often the words appear in the English language or our dataset, but it all comes down to the same idea that the language, from a list of numbers, learns to predict the next number. So if the model sees the kid looked under the bed and, which actually looks like this, it assigns probabilities to what comes next. Found, or 6,788 is likely, nothing is possible, volcano is almost impossible. Over time, by seeing billions and trillions of these contexts, it learns extremely rich regularities about language. Syntax, style, narrative structure, even a lot of world knowledge, just because that knowledge is encoded in text, or rather in these tokens. Scale is doing a huge amount of work here. Modern models are trained on trillions of tokens. A human, even an extremely well-read one, will see orders of magnitude less linguistic input over a lifetime. We are talking millions, maybe hundreds of millions of words, not trillions or even more. That difference in scale is not just a detail. It's why such a simple objective can lead to such complex behavior, even from a non-conscious machine. It's also the main difference between models before and after ChatGPT. Now, people often push back here and say, but humans also predict the next word when reading or listening. And that's true. There's strong evidence from cognitive science that humans form expectations about upcoming words and that predictable words are processed faster. And I do this a lot, which annoys many of my close ones, so yes, prediction exists in both systems. This is the first real resemblance. Both humans and LLMs use prediction. Both improve exposure, both benefit from patterns. But there's a key difference that everything else builds on. For the model, prediction is the final goal. That's it. You just want to predict the next token. For humans, prediction is just actually a side effect of a true understanding of what's happening, what we're talking about, and the topic as a whole. When you listen to a story, you're not just trying to guess the next word for its own sake. Even worse, fast readers actually skip words. LLMs could never do that. Humans are actually building a mental model of what's happening. You are taking characters, intentions, emotions, causes, and consequences. creating a new world in your head where things move and evolve. The predictions fall out of that process because language is structured in this mental model. For the LLM, there is no separate layer where understanding lives independently of the prediction task. If something like meaning exists inside the model, it exists only because it helps predict tokens. This is why experts like Yann LeCun have been so vocal about the limits of purely text-based models. His argument is not that they are useless, it's that they are missing key ingredients of how humans and animals learn. Grounding in physical world, multimodal perception, interaction, and the ability to build explicit world models through action and feedback. From that perspective, next token prediction on text is powerful, but it's not the same learning problem humans are solving. Other researchers like Ilya Sutskever take a more optimistic view. The argument here is that language itself encodes a huge amount of structure about the world, and that to predict language well at scale, a model may be forced to internalize increasingly abstract representations that function like world models in what we call the latent space. It's still an open debate and we'll only know with time, but I must say that current LLMs seem very far from developing a true understanding in a true mental model, even though scaling has proven to provide incredible new skills we didn't necessarily expect before trying to push these trainings to that scale. But regardless of where you land on that debate, the mechanism today is clear. Pre-training is about compressing patterns in text, not interacting with a world. Not forming goals, not testing hypotheses, just absorbing statistical regularities. We can take a super simple story to best understand that. A kid loses their dog, searches all day, and finally finds the dog at night. A pre-trained model can generate a very convincing version of this story. It knows that stories like this one usually have a setup, tension, and resolution. It knows what kind of words tend to appear in emotional moments. It knows how paragraphs usually flow. But it's not choosing those words because it wants to convey sadness or relief. It's choosing them because, given the prefix, those words have high probability under its learned distribution. The story structure emerges from local token decisions made at a massive scale. It's even worse if we compare this learning process to a real-world example. When a human learns to paint or play the piano, imitation is involved, of course. But it's not microscopic imitation. You don't copy every brushstroke exactly. You extract techniques, you form concepts like perspective, balance, contrast, and emotion, and you copy mostly the end result. You can even then apply those concepts to scenes you've never seen before. An LLM during pre-training is much closer to copying exactly the same strokes than extracting intent. It learns how small local moves tend to follow other local moves, stroke after stroke, or here token after token, pixel after pixel in image models. The global structure comes from the accumulation of these local rules, knowing what stroke to do next on the painting from all those it did before, not from an explicit understanding of the composition or meaning. That doesn't make the model dumb, it simply makes it different. Now, let's move to the second phase, because this is where a lot of people unintentionally attribute human-like qualities that don't actually come from pre-training. After pre-training, you don't have yet a helpful assistant as you see in ChatGPT. You have a model that's good at continuing text. What we call fine-tuning and reinforcement learning are what shape the model raw capability into something that follows instructions, answers questions, and behaves in socially acceptable ways. It basically is the difference between a powerful autocompleter into what you see inside ChatGPT. In this process, humans are paid to show the model examples of desired behaviors. They rank outputs, reward clarity, helpfulness, and safety, whatever the person that is paying wants, and then the model is optimized to produce more of what these humans preferred. This changes the model's behavior a lot. It's why the model sounds polite, it's why it explains its answers, it's why you have bullet points in every response and weirdly placed emojis. But it's important to understand what this phase is not doing. It's not giving the model new grounding in the world. It's not giving it lived experiences. It's not teaching it what it feels to lose a dog or to convey a touching story about it. It's shaping output behavior on top of representations learned during pre-training. This is the part that most resembles resembles human learning on the surface, because we also learn from feedback. Yet, LLMs usually require far more examples than we ever need. And more importantly, the feedback signal is very strong. The model is not rewarded on how it reasons or why it made a decision, only for whether the final output matches what humans labeled as good or bad. If you try to learn a climbing move, you learn through trial and error. You fall, you adjust your grip, you shift your weight, you feel tension in your body, you concentrate on the feet, you build intuition about balance and momentum. That feedback is continuous, embodied, and deeply tied into the process itself. You are not just told success or failure at the end and then adjusting. You feel what went wrong as it's happening, and your internal model updates moment by moment. In contrast, reinforcement learning in LLMs is mostly outcome-based and external. The model doesn't experience the attempt. It doesn't feel instability or effort. It doesn't know which internal steps mattered. It only gets a signal that the final sequence of tokens was preferred or not. So while both systems use reinforcement, humans learn by interacting with the world and updating rich internal models through experience, whereas LLMs are nudged statistically toward outputs humans like, without access to the underlying process that led there. That's why this phase can make models behave more human-like without actually making their learning human-like. Now, this is also the right moment to talk about reasoning, because this is where people often say, okay, but models actually think. You can see it reason step by step. What's actually happening is more subtle than that. When an LLM appears to reason, it's still doing the same core thing, generating the next token based on the previous one. The difference is that it has seen a huge number of examples of reasoning like text, explanations, math steps, code bases, arguments, proofs, etc. And it has learned that for certain kinds of questions, producing intermediate text that looks like reasoning tends to lead to better final answers. So when you see the model thinking, what you're seeing is not an internal planning process deciding which step to take like we do when we think. You are seeing language that resembles reasoning because that kind of language has high probability in that context. This is why reasoning can feel impressive and fragile at the same time. The model doesn't know which steps are necessary. It doesn't know which ones are sufficient. It's generating sequences that look like reasoning, and sometimes those sequences line up with the correct logic, and sometimes they don't. And scaling allows us to try many routes in parallel and converge towards the best one and look intelligent. For humans, this is flipped. We usually reason first, often silently, sometimes visually or abstractly, like really mentally seeing yourself do a specific climb, and then you use language to express the results of that thinking, or in the case of climbing, you grab the holds and then you see that it's much harder than you thought. Grabbing these holds, or language for language-related tasks, is mostly a downstream of thought. For LLMs, language is the actual thought. There's no separate layer where reasoning happens and then gets translated into words. This is just decided by OpenAI or the other companies on which token to keep as reasoning ones and which to send you to see. That doesn't mean models can solve really complex problems. Clearly, they can, we've seen it. It just means that the learning and thinking mechanism is different, and that difference explains both the strength and the failure of these models. Now, let's come back to humans just a bit, because this is where the deepest difference lives. Humans do imitate. That part is real. We borrow phrases, we copy styles, we learn by exposure. But human learning is grounded into actions and experiences from the start. Words are tied to perception, action, and social interaction. You don't learn what dog means just by reading it, even if you read thousands of stories about dogs. You learn it by seeing dogs, hearing them, interacting with them, being corrected, and embedding that word into a broader model of the world. So you just create yourself a world model of the word dog, where you can compare with other dogs or with cats to see the differences and learn from there. Humans also learn with agency. You want things, you try to achieve goals, you fail, you adjust, you ask questions. All of this process, the learning process, is driven by curiosity, survival, and social connection, not by passively minimizing a loss function over a static dataset. I have yet to see an LLM with the curiosity to ask me something unless it was programmed to do so or prompted to do so. They more or less look like a very bad date that just answers your questions or asks what about you if you do seem like you are talking to them. Humans are also incredibly data efficient. A child can learn a new word with a handful of examples. A model might need thousands or millions of occurrences. Scale compensates for this, but the underlying process at their core is still very different. And humans learn continuously. Your internal model of the world updates every day. Most LLMs on the other side are frozen and then lightly steered again with retraining or fine-tuning in this case. They don't accumulate new understanding in the same open-ended way. So when someone says LLMs learn like humans because both copy patterns, the precise answer you should give them is check out this video by Louis-François and you'll get it. Okay, no, seriously, the real answer should be something like, yes, both rely on patterns, both involve prediction, imitation exists in both, but humans learn patterns in order to build meaning, act in the world, and pursue goals, whereas LLMs learn patterns in order to learn patterns, to predict the next tokens through trillions of trials, and only later are shaped to behave in ways humans find useful through millions of other trials. That's why the outputs can look similar while the learning processes are fundamentally different. I hope this difference is a bit more clear now, and if you like, I could go deeper into the reasoning question in another video, because that opens up a whole new discussion around chain of thought, hidden reasoning, tool use, and why certain problems still break models easily. Let me know if you'd like to see that in the comments. Until then, thank you for watching the whole video. Please subscribe to learn more and check out the Towards AI Academy, where we build the best courses to leverage or build with AI. We have these 2 tracks for you to upskill and be on top of language models rather than having them on top of you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.